Have you wondered why communication and public speaking skills are highly demanded by employers? How apt communication strategies can enhance the brand image and reputation of companies? Do you know that communication faux pas can make companies pay price? Does business communication limited to physical mode or optimization of social media is required side by side in order to widen the reach of intended message? Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, you will get an overview of business communication, or precisely the existence of business communication in various shapes and sizes. The word communicate has been derived from the Latin word communis, which means to share. Communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols or signs or behaviors. Communication must include both transfer and understanding of meaning. No idea, no matter how great it is not useful until transmitted and understood by others. It serves four major functions. Communication provides information that individuals and groups need to make decisions by evaluating alternative choices. It is a fundamental mechanism within a work group to show their satisfaction or frustration. Therefore, it provides for emotional expression of feelings and fulfillment of social needs. Communication acts to control number of behavior as in authority hierarchies and formal guidelines that employees require to follow. It fosters motivation by clarifying the employees what they must do, how well they are doing, and how to improve their performance. So guys, I hope now you understand what encompasses business communication. It is an holistic activity that calibrates transparency across various levels and among stakeholders of a firm. Effective business communication is how employees and management interact to reach enterprise's goals. It links not only the various components of the organization, but also its internal world with the external world. Next, we have communication process. Let's see each of the elements. Message is the idea or thought which a sender wishes to transmit. It can be in the form of oral or written or any gesture. Encode. The idea is encoded with suitable words, charts or symbols for transmission. Channel. It is the medium through which the message travels. Senders has to choose appropriate channels depending upon the audience, timing, scale of the message, and sometimes criticality of the message. Receive. Clear reception of message is a condition precedent to its effective interpretation, storage, and use. Decode. It is the interpretation of message by the receiver. Hence, the sender needs to assess the environment as well as the abilities of the receiver for proper communication. Feedback. Business communication is incomplete without this particular element. It is the receiver's response to the sender's message. It is a check on how successful the sender has been in transmitting the intent that he wanted to convey. Noise. It represents the communication barriers that distort the clarity of the message. Noise has been discussed in another separate video whose link has been given in the description box. Noise includes filtering, selective perception, psychological, cultural, as well as physical barriers. From the process, we have understood the choice of communication channel is dependent on media richness or channel richness. Here is a continuum from linear medium to richer medium. Richness depends on factors like handling multiple cues simultaneously, facilitating rapid feedback, and very personal. For instance, face-to-face conversation scores highest in the channel richness because it transmits the most information per communication episode. It has the opportunity for multiple information cues like facial expression, voice toning. It has a personal touch by being present at that moment and scope for immediate feedback. It is recommended if you need to convey negative feedback, you must opt for richer medium, whereas for mass-scale declaration, linear mediums are cheap modes. Let's have a look on the categorization of communication. Based on organization structure, it can be divided as formal and informal or grapevine. Based on direction, it can be categorized as upward, downward, or lateral. Based in the way we express ourselves, it can be classified as verbal and non-verbal, and verbal can be further classified as oral or written forms of communication. Among all the types of communication, the type that is required on our daily basis at an individual level is this verbal and non-verbal communication. Formal or small group networks is flow of communication in organizational setting. Chain is a communication network that follows the formal chain of command. In a typically centrally controlled organization, communication generally revolves around a pivotal person. For example, in a production unit, the production manager would be a pivotal person and all communication would flow in one direction. Y-type represents another form of network communication. From the diagram you can find that C communicates to A, B and D. For instance, C might be the subordinate of A and B. That means C has two bosses and C has a subordinate D, who on the other hand has a subordinate E. It follows the formal chain of authority. It is sequential in nature, centralization process and is flexible in nature. Will relies a central figure to act as the conduit for entire group's communication. For instance, team with a team lead. The informal communication network in an organization is called grapevine. It has three main characteristics. First, it is not controlled by management. Most employees perceive it as more credible than formal ones. And the last, it is largely used to serve the interest of the people within it. Such type of communication is an outcome of social interaction that takes place at informal settings, that is during lunch, coffee, or tea breaks. Earlier we have seen that based on direction, communication are of different types. Let us see what they are. Downward communication is a communication that flows from supervisors to subordinates. It is used by managers to assign goals, provide job instructions, explain policies and procedures to employees, and give feedback about the performance. For instance, introduction of a new sick leave policy and emailing them to employees. Over here, the management is using downward communication. Upward communication is used to provide feedback to higher-ups, inform them of progress towards the goals, and relay current problems. For instance, to engage in effective upward communication, communicate in headlines or short emails, not in paragraphs, because your objective is to gain boss's attention. Support your headlines with actionable items. Lateral communication and horizontal communication takes place intra as well as interdepartmental. It provides a means by which supervisors, grassroots level workers and managers organize and coordinate their activities without referring the matters to their respective seniors. For example, production manager, purchase manager and sales manager need to be in constant contact with each other to know the consumer preferences in the market, designing and supplying components accordingly, and manufacture finished goods as per the requirement. Diagonal communication is a type of horizontal communication which is seen in IT industries where teams are virtually connected. Over here, the resource of one team can directly communicate with the senior manager of another team. Verbal communication can be broadly classified as oral and written. Oral communication is a chief means of conveying the messages. It has its importance because the receiver not only hears the contents but also gets influenced by tone, pitch, gestures, speed and volume of the conversation. Various forms are speeches, group discussions, face-to-face conversations, including the grapevine. One of the main advantages is speed. You can convey a verbal message and receive a response in minimal time. If the receiver is unsure of the message, rapid feedback allows the sender to quickly detect and rectify it. In cases of negotiation, the speaker is able to comprehend the expressions of the opposite person, whether he is interested or not interested, thereby helping in tailor-making the conversation in terms of persuasion and personal touch. The major disadvantage is that when the message passes via more people or levels, the more it has a chance to get distorted. Oral communication generally has no record or legal liability. Always ask for written confirmation for important messages. Written communication includes memos, letters, notices, emails, etc. It is tangible and verifiable. Everyone has a record of the message, hence it is available for future references. People have to clarify their thoughts, what they want to convey before representing on a paper, but it has its drawbacks. It's time-consuming and it lacks inbuilt feedback mechanism. For instance, when you mail someone, until you get a reply, you are not sure whether the meaning has been understood by the receiver. While the key to success in relationship lies in your ability to communicate well, that is not the words that you use, but your non-verbal cues of body language that speak the loudest. Body language is the use of physical behavior, expressions, eye contact that you use to communicate without words. It comprises of personal appearance. Think how you mark yourself as a first impression. Walking energetically, holding yourself erect, smiling occasionally, and dressing yourself nice and dapper. Facial expressions. When you give an oral presentation, your facial expression portrays your interest and enthusiasm. It conveys emotions with accuracy and intensity of your feelings. Posture. Consider how your perceptions of people are affected by the way they carry them. It communicates a wealth of information to the world. For example, while giving presentation, try to appear calm, poised, and confident. Stand erect and do not rush into your speech. Gesture. It is an invaluable aid in helping you to express your ideas. When you are explaining something, sweeping your hands illustrate broad field, or palms up invites acceptance, open-mindedness, or participation. In some cases, gestures vary according to culture. Voice modulation. It is not just what you say, it is how you say. When you speak, other people pay attention to your timing, pace, pitch, and volume. Think how your tone can indicate your anger, sarcasm, and sympathy. Eye contact. It is the most effective device for securing the attention of your audience, or for communicating many things like interest, affection, and hostility. Whether you are aware or not, when you interact with others, you are continuously giving and receiving wordless signals. They can put people at ease, build trust, or they might get offended, confused, and undermine what you are saying. Here are some tips on positive body language. Avoid slouching. Sit with your back straight, up against the chair, or lean slightly forward to convey engagement. Display some animations with your hands and facial expression to project a dynamic presence. Gestures with your hands gives aid to your conversation, but avoid a fidgeting and shaking of limbs. Establish frequent but not continuous or piercing eye contact with interviewers. In case of group interview, shift your eye contact to various interviewers. Maintain open arms. Folded arms can convey defensiveness or sometimes disrespect. Modulate your vocal tone to express excitement and punctuate key points. Try not to interrupt. Wait patiently until the person is done talking to respond. Avoid looking at the clock, your phone, or displaying any other signs of disinterest. Smiling is recommended, but refrain from forced laughter in response to humor. Effective communication has always been essential for success in business. As business expands, the scale of operation also increases. More and more departments created, more and more employees are recruited, and accordingly, channel partners also increase. As a result, effective communication strategy is extremely crucial for teamwork and collaborative work culture. Globalization and privatization have resulted in severe competition across the multinationals. Persuasive communication in the form of advertisements, public events, personal contacts becomes essential to survive the race. Management must consult union leaders on several matters where regular exchange of information and ideas between managers and union officials help them to maintain healthy relations with them. Nowadays, team members are virtually connected, and remote teams are future of work. Coordinating across various time zones, information silos, and overcoming language and cultural barriers are communication challenges that teams experience. So employers need to design and implement communication strategies that can have a significant positive impact on how remote teams collaborate and helps to establish a healthy employee relations. Sound communication is essential for ensuring mutual cooperation and understanding among departments. For example, your research department needs to be on the same page as your marketing team are. Internal communication teams have a significant role in supporting, coaching, and reminding top management of communication's importance. Participation of employees in decision-making, autonomy in work engages employees, developing among them a sense of belonging and loyalty to organization. 4 in 5 employees believe that effective internal communication helps their job performance. Email is widely used everywhere, whether it is information request, status report, task assignment, supply requirements, or market share report that results in email overload. On the other hand, too much irrelevant content often results in information silos, and a lot of time is wasted searching for required information. This hampers employee productivity, resulting in dissatisfaction and employee turnover. 2 things happen when there is a poor intra-organizational communication. First, frontline employees won't have the information that customers seek for. Second, customers will sense the low employee morale and have negative experience. Transparent communication system shapes healthy work atmosphere, employee motivation and retention. Now you have come to know the crucial role played by business communication as in collaborative teamwork and enhancing the performance of teams, or how with better conversational harmony managers can easily present better ideas which make employees more and more encouraged and motivated to be involved in the job. Stay tuned to my channel for more such videos.